We've had great luck here. So just to everybody, hello, Pennsylvania. How are we doing in Pennsylvania? And I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. It's coming, it's coming. Listen to this, 67 days, wow. 67 days from now, we're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. Did you see her? Did you see her last night? Did you see her last night? I don't know. You think she's going to be able to handle President Xi? I don't know. I don't think so. China, North Korea, Russia, I don't know. But we're going to win back the White House. We're going to make this country greater than it's ever been. And everyone here today is part of the greatest political movement in the history of our country. You know that. Make America Great Again, MAGA. And whoa, look at all of the fake news. They got a lot of fake news back there. That's a lot of fake news, David. That's a lot of people. Some I like, about 7%, and some I don't like. No, that's a lot. But, you know, when I say the greatest political movement in the history of our country, if I say something even slightly wrong, they give me 12 Pinocchios, right? 12 Pinocchios. No, we can't say anything even a little bit wrong. I can't even joke. When I used to show Biden couldn't find the stairs off the stairway, they'd say, Trump couldn't find it. They'd say, they took it. And they would say, I couldn't. When different things, the worst thing you can do with them is sarcasm, because it doesn't work with the fake news. So we won't have any fun, but we will have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I recognize you. How are you? And I recognize you. But no, it's amazing what we built all together and started 8 years ago, maybe a little before that, who knows? Probably started 40 years ago in our soul, but it started 8 years ago, and nobody would have thought anything like this could have happened. And it represents a tremendous piece of the Republican Party, and more importantly, it represents a tremendous piece of this country, tremendous piece, a lot more than 50%. Therefore, we have to get out and vote. This past week, I was honored to receive 2 endorsements of former Democrats for president, Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. And they're both great people. They were Democrats, as you probably know, and they felt very strongly about the endorsement, and I feel very happy to get it. Every day we are welcoming more Republicans, independents, traditional Democrats, and old-fashioned liberals. You know, they don't use that term anymore. They use progressive. We don't use that term. We like liberal better. Progressive sounds so good. It sounds progressive. They're not progressive. They're the opposite. Together we're fighting to secure our borders, end the endless foreign wars, and defend the working people of America. And coming in, I heard some of the most beautiful speeches. I heard just beautiful, beautiful speeches. I want to thank all of the speakers that preceded me. Beautiful speeches. We're joining forces to defeat government corruption, restore free speech, and make America healthy again. We're going to make America healthy again, you know? We're a nation that is not doing well in a lot of ways, and we're not doing so well with health, but we're going to solve a lot of those problems, I think, over the next short period of time. A lot of it's common. A lot of that's common sense, too. It's all common sense when you get right down to it. But we're going to get toxic chemicals out of our environment, and we're going to get them out of our food supply. We're going to get them out of our bodies. We'll get them out of our body, right? Right? With victory this fall, we will enact this pro-family agenda, and we will bring back the American dream, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. They never talk about the American dream. They never mention it. They don't talk about the American flag. By the way, the American flag, we got some of the greatest congressmen warriors here that you have anywhere. And congressmen go to Congress soon, like immediately, but soon. We should give a 1-year sentence in jail to anybody that burns the American flag. You should do that. Mike, do it, Mike. Right? Do it. That looks so bad at the Democrat National. I always call it Democrat. You know, they want it to be called Democratic. I said, then change your name. They don't change their name. Sounds worse, so I use it. But at the Democrat National Convention, I watched those American flags burning all over the place. I think it's a disgrace. And they said it's unconstitutional to stop it. Like hell it is, okay? Like hell it is. It's not unconstitutional. It's like when I stopped the riots in Washington. They were taking down statues. They were having a lot of fun. They didn't know what they were doing, having a lot of fun. And I pulled out an old law from 1907, because we don't pass laws like that are tough. And it said, if you touch a monument, if you touch it, even touch it against the will of authority, if you take it down, but if you even touch it, you go to jail for 10 years. And there's no 9 years and 5 months, it's 10 years. And so I signed it, I took it out, it was dusty. It was old and dusty. Hadn't been used in 78 years, I think they said. And I signed it, I announced it, and I watched about 10,000 asses I could watch from the back as they left town. They were all gone. I knew there was a problem when they started ripping down a statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, they're going to take down the statue of Lincoln? I don't think so. We're not going to let that happen. And we've got to be tough, because if you see what's happening in Aurora, Colorado today, did you see that? Where Venezuelan gang members have taken over parts of the city. They've taken over apartment houses because these stupid people that we have leading our country are allowing these people, these criminals, to come into our country, and we're going to get them the hell out of here. And this is just the beginning. Wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what they're doing. Unbelievable. No, it's on. These congressmen, they're just shaking their head. They can't believe it. They can't believe two things, actually. The size of these crowds. You know, you could fill this place up 3 times. Why didn't you get a larger arena? Huh? Somebody said, as we're riding by, oh, it's too bad the arena hasn't started filling up. I said, no, you don't understand. It's totally full, but the line goes back for miles. It's already full. But we got to do that, fellas, you know? We got to do it. Because I've been saying for a long time, I said, these people are coming in from prisons and jails. Nobody listened to me. They're murderers. They're drug dealers. If you take a look at Venezuela as an example, their crime is down 72%. Because they've taken their criminals from Caracas. They've taken their drug dealers. They're emptying their prisons into our country. Their crime is down all over the world. Crime is down. In the Congo, in Africa, 22 people deposited into our country. Where do you come from? The Congo. Where in the Congo? Jail. What did you do? We will not say that. You can imagine. Listen, they come from Africa. They come from the Middle East, countries that are not friends of ours. And they're coming by the millions, And these fools, Kamala, he's a Marxist. These fools are letting them come into our country, destroy our country. And I said, you know, did you ever see the hat? I don't want to brag, but they do have a big selling hat. You know what it says? Trump was right about everything, right? Front row Joes. Front row Joes. Right? No, but it's... Hey, look, if I ran one of those countries, I would be doing better than them at getting the people out. You run a country... The country's inundated with really tough people that are criminals. I want to get them the hell out. If I was the head of a country, the president of a country, if I was in charge of anything having to do with the country, I would have moved them out even faster than they're doing. They are moving people into our country at numbers that nobody's ever seen. And those countries are becoming safe countries. And wait till you see what's going to happen. You know, they're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? They're getting used to a society that really goes too far. And the only thing they go after is guys like Trump because he protests an election. That's the only thing they're good at going after. They don't go after criminals. They don't go after people that kill people. They don't go after drug dealers that kill, on average, 500 people during their lifetime. So a drug dealer kills 500 people. And the only thing they would understand would be the death penalty. If you had the death penalty for drug dealers, you wouldn't have any more drugs. You wouldn't have any more drugs. Instead, we formed blue ribbon committees made up of our great First Lady and lots of people like Steve Witkoff, great developer in New York. But they don't do this for a living. The only thing they understand, I went to China, I saw President Xi, had a good relationship until COVID came in, then I broke it off. That was too much. But I said to him, and I had a great relationship with him, and I will again probably. But I said, do you have a drug problem? 1.4 billion people. No, we have no drug problem. Why don't you have a drug problem? Because we have the death penalty, he said, for drug dealers. If they sell drugs, they die, he said. So those people that sold drugs, they said, you know, let's go to another country. This is a little bit tough. But they do in many other countries. In countries where you have that, you don't have a drug problem. And we are becoming a drug-infested nation, whether you like it or not. We're becoming a drug-infested nation. So we better get our act together. You know, years ago, centuries ago, China was taken over numerous times by smaller nations, much smaller nations, because they were all drugged out from the opium fields and all of that. And then one of their very powerful leaders said no more, and they ended it. And we're going to have to end it too, because we're really a country that we're a failing nation in a lot of ways. What they've done to our country is incredible. What is Kamala, who's a total lightweight. Did you see her on television last night? This is going to be the president. This is going to be the president of our country? I don't think so. Sitting propped up in a desk with this guy, this Tampon Tim. And it's the first interview she's done in nobody's ever seen anything like it. And if you're too weak to do a one-on-one interview with a person that was so soft, you know, I know Dana, she's always, always nasty. She was so nice to the Democrats. It's much easier to be a Democrat, but we don't agree with their policies because their policies will destroy our nation. So we can't do that. We can't do that. But it was a very weak interview from the standpoint of CNN. I think CNN should be ashamed of themselves. If that were me, aren't they? Sir, I heard you want the death penalty for drug dealers. Why? Well, you know, I'd like to end the drug epidemic, if that's okay. Remember this, and I said it. Every drug dealer, on average, kills 500 people. That's not mentioning all of the families that are destroyed forever. They're destroyed forever. And we have to do something about it because we are becoming, and we are, a drug-infested nation. We have to do something. And if you did that meaningfully, you will, in 1 week, stop the drug problem. Nobody's going to be selling drugs. Nobody. I don't know if the country's ready for it, but they should. You know, we lost, they give you fake numbers, the real numbers. We lost probably 350,000 people last year to drugs, to fentanyl and other drugs. I had a deal with President Xi. He was going to put that on their ultimate crime list. That's where they give the death penalty. If they make it in China, they sell it here. He was going to give the death penalty. When we had a rigged election, what happened is when I left, they never picked it up. Biden never picked it up, so they never did it. But they were going to give the death penalty, which is their ultimate ultimate punishment. You can't get too much more ultimate than that. They were going to give the death penalty to the fentanyl makers in China if they make it and sell it in here. And they were going to do it because, you know, otherwise we weren't going to do trade. Little things like, we won't trade with you anymore. We won't pay you billions of dollars anymore. So easy. So easy. But people like Kamala, she let San Francisco die. She destroyed probably the greatest city, maybe one of the greatest cities, but could be. A friend of mine, Bob Tisch, used to say years ago, he said San Francisco is the greatest city in America. That was probably 1670. He passed away, great guy, he passed away, but he used to talk about San Francisco all the time. Today, you can't walk into San Francisco. She destroyed it. She destroyed it. She's the one that started it, too. She was the district attorney. Then she destroyed California along with Gavin Newsom. You know, one of the truly bad governors. But the fake news is doing everything possible, everything they can to help Kamala Harris. Do you ever notice nobody knows what her last name is? I go, okay, I'm going to give you the first name. Tell me the last name. I say, Kamala. They have no idea who the hell she is. But as they find out, you notice our poll numbers are starting to skyrocket. When they find out that she's a Marxist, when they find out her father, you know, is a Marxist professor, you know that. When they find out that she was the one that destroyed California and San Francisco a long time ago, you can't have this. Look, we have to put our country back into shape. Somebody said, women don't like Donald Trump. I said, I think that's wrong. I think they love me. I love them. I love them. Speaking of them, North Carolina, these women, this is number 227 rally. And they've been to some other than rallies. 220. They're wealthy as hell. Look at them. They've got nothing but cash. Their husbands are great. But they allow them to go all over the country. They follow me all over the country. We have front row Joes over here. We got the women from North Carolina. Look at them. And no, but they're great patriots. They're great patriots. And, you know, I spoke to the husbands one time. I say, how do you put up with this? Your wives are traveling all over the place. Do you mind? We trust our wives, sir. We trust them implicitly. I said, well, you have great wives, let me tell you, but they've traveled, I think it's like 228, something like that. But it is beautiful to have you here. We love to have you here. Always perfectly coiffed. They're always perfectly coiffed, right? They're beautiful. They're great women, and we appreciate their being here. We appreciate you guys being here. You were here in Butler. They were there in Butler. I remember they were standing there in the front row Joes. You know what? They get here like 3 days early. They wait around for 3 days, 4 days. They probably got to know some of my guys by now. I would think they don't have to be quite so anxious. They're going to be, but they've done a great job. And then we have Mr. Wall, Irving Wall. Would you please stand up, Irving Wall? He is a great guy, and he was there for Butler, too, wasn't he? He was there. I saw him there. But he's been to many shows. How many shows have you been to? He's lost track. I agree, but I appreciate it. We appreciate it. The whole place appreciates it. Ultimately, they're patriots. It's not about me. These are incredible patriots. These ladies are incredible patriots. So I just want to thank you. Incredible. But to show you how bad the fake news is, some of the Gold Star families, you probably read this over the last couple of days, and you know, a lot of people say, sir, don't hit down on them, the fake news. Don't hit down, sir, don't even mention. I said, should I mention it? Don't hit down. Well, but it became sort of a story, so I always like to mention it, because if you don't mention it, our supporters don't really know what to believe, and they sort of believe this stuff. So the Gold Star families and incredible people, and I got to know them because the 13 families who were, as you know, lost a loved one in Afghanistan so needlessly because we have an incompetent president and vice president grossly incompetent, and we had Milley and these incompetent generals that should have been fired immediately. Not one person was fired over Afghanistan. And by the way, Russia saw that, they went into Ukraine because they said, I had no idea that the United States was so stupid. So, and you know, when I was running that, I spoke to the leader of the Taliban. They run the whole deal. And I said, Abdul, don't even think, don't do it, Abdul, don't do it, because they were shooting, they were killing our people. And they were really killing them previous to me and Obama. They were killing them in the Obama administration and with Biden. But how did he do in the debate? A friend of mine said, sir, what did you do? I said, how good was I tonight? Sir, you probably got him thrown out. Now you're going to have to run against somebody new. I said, I don't care. I have to do what I have to do. We have to do what we have to do, right? And I look forward to the debate with her. But what happened, so with Afghanistan, you know, I do the weave. You know what the weave is? I'll talk about like 9 different things, and they all come back brilliantly together. And it's like, and friends of mine that are like English professors, they say, it's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. But the fake news, you know what they say? He rambled. That's not rambling. When you have, what you do is you get off a subject to mention another little tidbit, then you get back onto the subject, and you go through this, and you do it for 2 hours, and you don't even mispronounce one word. And they say he had 100,000 people. You know, in New Jersey, we had 107,000 people. They never like to report it, so I say it. But in Wildwood, New Jersey, they announced 107,000 people. And then they say, well, look at this. I mean, if you gave me a big arena, we would have said 45,000 people or something. But it is rather brilliant. But they say, yes, he rambled. But in Afghanistan, so what happens is you take the wonderful families, and they come in, and we're in Washington. They said, would it be possible, sir, would it be at all possible for you to come, because we're celebrating our child's life. The child was buried because of Joe Biden and Comrade Harris. Would it be at all possible, sir, for you to be there? And I said, yeah, it's going to be real tough. I was really like far away, and sometimes it's tough. But I said, you know what, we have to do it. And I got my team and I said, let's go. We're going to Arlington Cemetery. Okay? I said, we're going to Arlington. Because again, I got to know these people. Because honestly, they would send me death certificates of their child. They said, sir, would you sign it? Please sign it. We refuse to accept his name on this death certificate. They said he killed our child. And honestly, the incompetence killed their children. The incompetence, gross. And by the way, they lost almost 500 people that day, including the other side. They left Americans behind. They're still there. Nobody knows even what happened to them. Think of this. They left $85 billion worth of brand new military equipment that I bought because I rebuilt the entire military. $85 billion worth of equipment behind. They left everything and they moved the military first instead of last. You say, you stupid people, you take the military out last. For 18 months, and a lot of you know this, for 18 months, not one American, after I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban, not one person was shot. We didn't lose one person for 18 months. In fact, Joe Biden got up on television one day, and he said, for 18 months, not one person was shot during the Trump administration. Then the people started screaming at him, you stupid, don't say that. You know, you are so stupid, they tell him. But I appreciated that he said that. But it's true. For 18 months, nobody was lost, and nobody would have been lost, and we were getting out. I had it down to 5,000 people. But we were going to keep Bagram, which is the big air base, one of the biggest in the world, had the biggest runways, most powerful runways, 8 foot deep. You could land anything on those runways. Not because of Afghanistan. We're keeping Bagram for a different reason. 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, right? So I got a call from the people. Sir, we're going to be going to Arlington to honor our children who were killed, and they are devastated, the people. I had them over at Bedminster, and they didn't think I'd see them. And they said, do you think we'll see him? And they said, well, we don't know. He'll try and make it. I ended up spending 4 hours late at night listening to music with all of the relatives of the people that were killed, so needlessly killed. And I got to know them. And we were looking at the sky, beautiful place. We're looking at the sky, and we're listening to Elvis, and we're listening to Elton John, we're listening to everybody. And I said, look, your son is looking down at you. And the whole thing was beautiful. And you get to know them. They didn't think I'd see them, but at most I would spend 15 minutes. And I ended up spending many hours. So I got to know them. So they called up and they said, do you think you could be there, sir? I said, I'll try if I can. And we really had to turn things around. Anyway, I got there. And we had a ceremony. We had the changing of the guard. No, we had a beautiful ceremony. And then they said, sir, could you come to the graves? Could you come to the graves? After the ceremony, they said, could you come to the graves? Would that be possible? I said, I will. But I got like this big stadium, something was waiting. I said, but I'm going to, because those people are the love of our lives. They are the love of our lives, right? And in all fairness, I can say there's the mother's, father's, sisters, the brother, but the various people that we're talking about, depending on who it is, but the various people, they say it to me, I'll say it to you. I mean, I don't think they can ever be the same. I said, is it better now? Because it's 3 years, is it better? No, it's not better. You know, they have an expression, time heals all wounds. But I said, is that expression true? No, sir. Maybe it's worse now, sir. It's devastating. These people are just so devastated. So anyway, we're there, and they said a prayer, different graves, one here, one there. Then they said to me, I'm not surprised, I never even thought about it. Sir, would it be possible for you to have a picture with us by the tombstone of my son? You know, the beautiful white tombstones, marble, beautiful, beautiful things, and carved, engraved with the names on them. I said, absolutely. I wasn't doing it I don't need publicity. I get a lot of publicity. I would like to get a lot less publicity. I would pay to get, I'm the only guy who would hire a public relations agent to get less publicity. Most hire to get publicity. So I was taking pictures at the grave, one with the sister, and then the mother, and then the father come in, and then another group at a different grave. And it was so beautiful, and we left, and everything was nice. And then later on that day, I heard that we were using the graves of those soldiers for public relations purposes, you know? And that was all put out by the White House. Joe Biden killed those young people because he was incompetent. And then they tell me that I used their graves for public relations services, and I didn't. And I'll tell you what, it was a disgrace. And she was involved. Remember, she said she was the last person in the room, right, when they made the decision. And pulling out was okay, but not pulling out like a bunch of incompetent fools. And that's what they did. We had them in such a great position. But when I took those pictures, it was so beautiful. They were crying. Everybody was crying. They were talking about 3 years ago, because of a grossly incompetent group of generals, and we have great generals. Don't forget, we defeated ISIS entirely with great generals, real generals, not these television morons that you see all the time. But when I saw that, I said, I think I have to talk about it. Now, my people said, don't do it, sir. Don't do it. But if I don't tell you the story, you're going to read. It was front page of the Washington Post, which has lost approximately 57% of their readers over the last 3 years. It was a story in the New York Times, which is losing reader after reader. I'm happy about that. I have to be happy because they truly are the enemy of the people. They are the enemy of the people. They tell false stories about me. That's all they do is they write false stories. They're incapable. I could do the greatest thing. I got to tell you, I ran for office. and they were covering it viciously. But it was front page every day. And then I won. I beat everybody. And I had a story on page 17. So I won, David. And my story was on page 17. But I was always at page 1 when I made a little speech or something. That's why they call it the fake news media. It's desperately trying to hide Kamala's failures and extremism from the public. They don't want the people to know how unfit she is to serve. She's unfit to serve. Everything she touches, she ruins. Just to finish this, I love those people. I'm so happy they took pictures of me and them and the tombstone and their lovely son or daughter. There was a daughter too. And an incredible daughter, frankly. I've almost gotten to know them, even though I never met them, but I know everything about them. The mother would walk up and say, "Sir, may I tell you about my boy? You know, he was a football player, and he could throw the ball so far. He played quarterback, sir. And one day," and I realized that she's telling me a story and crying about her son who's now in a grave because of Biden and Kamala. And I listened to that whole story, how the ball was caught, how the ball was thrown, how the team did, the season the team had, and I let her talk. And then these people accused me of doing this for public relations reasons. And the fact that we even got there, so I just want to, and they were so good. They said, "How dare they do that?" We asked him. They did ask me. And, you know, they actually came to my defense. It's nice because sometimes that doesn't happen too. But they really did. They said, "We asked him to be here, and we want him to be there always." And I just think that's great. And we love you all. Thank you. But I wrote for this particular group, you know, because this is, you know, she's anti-fracking, she's anti-everything, this Pennsylvania. And I said, do me a favor, make a little reel of Kamala Harris has no right being here. She got no votes. She ran. She was one of 22 people that ran. She was the first one to quit. She never made it to Iowa in the primaries, the first state. She was nasty to Biden. She called him a racist and everything else. You know, she'll probably call me a racist in a week from now, week and a half. I look forward to that debate very much. But she called him a racist. Remember the school bus? All she can do, she can memorize a little bit, not a lot, but she memorized a little story about a girl taking a bus. And she used it on Biden. And so when Biden picked her, I was shocked because nobody treated him so badly as her. But let's take a look at the real Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously. As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that.
Would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
You know, the food pyramid. What people
yes.
To reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
And yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
But that's her. And now she's changed everything. In fact, I think she is going to soon apply for, give me an application for joining MAGA. She's going to be wearing a MAGA cap. Now, that's her, and she can't do anything about it because that's where she is. Or with a politician, when they come out with something, that's where they end up, and she will destroy the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Just remember that. And we should win a blowout. We should blow them out. You know, we win the state, we win the whole thing. And we won it in 2016, and we did much better in 2020. You know that, much better. With the whole election. Actually, in 2016, we did great, but 2020, we did much better, generally. Since Kamala and the media don't want to talk about her radical record, we will. Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's all right. That's okay. No, he's on our side. We get a little itchy, David, don't we? No, he's on our side. You know what he's showing? At Butler, an amazing thing happened. You had two American flags very far apart, held up, I think, by different cranes. They were very big flags, beautiful flags, and they were waving. And as that horrible event was taking place, the wind blew the flags together, and they formed a perfect angel. I don't know if we have it, but it was a perfect angel was formed. I'll tell you, a lot of things happened. If we have it, put it up. If we don't have it, that's all right. That's it. That's it. That's it. He had the angel. He held up the angel, and our people went after him. No, he's on our side. He's on our side. Thank you very much. It's very nice. I've never seen banners so beautiful, right? No, he's on our side. I mean, the problem is if he was on our side, you know, we can have 35, 40,000 people trying to get in. And if one person stands up and says, I don't like you, Trump, it becomes a headline. Major problems, right? No, but he is on our side. Thank you very much. That's nice. For nearly 4 years, Comrade Kamala Harris has overseen a nation-wrecking border division, flooding our communities with 20 or 21 million, and it could be much more than that. And don't listen to 15 and 16. You're way gone. Those days are gone. 20 million illegal aliens from 158 different countries as of now. Is there anywhere that's more fun to be than a Trump rally? All right, there's nowhere. There's nowhere. It's nice Friday, you know what? And we have plenty of time. Friday afternoon, Steve is here, David's here, all my friends are here. We have the best son in the world here. But all my friends are here, and let's just take our time and have a good time, right? Or should I hurry it up? Should we give you the short version or the longer version? Harris lost. Listen to these numbers, though. Seriously, if this were a Republican, they'd be stringing them up. Now listen to this number, because you have to understand what it means. 325,000 children have been lost. They've been allowed to be trafficked all across our borders. She flew in illegal aliens by the hundreds of thousands, and many of these were young children. But we have no idea where, think of the number, 325,000 children are missing. Many are dead. Many are involved in sex operations. Many are working as slaves in different parts of probably this country and probably many others. But she was the border czar. Now she says I wasn't the border czar. But she was. It was headlines, border czar, border czar. But now she doesn't want that term. But whether she was a border czar or not, she was in charge of the border. 325,000 children are missing. She created a fast pass entry program to speed the admission of illegals into all of our ports of entry. And remember when they said, no, we're going to, now they have a new line. We created a strong border. No. They keep saying it over and over. The worst border in history. But they think if they keep saying it over and over, most people aren't like us. They're not that, they drive a cab. They're carpenters, they're electricians, they're accountants, they're lawyers. They're not like into it other than they like Trump. They like our policies because it's not about me. This is not about me. I had a nice life. You can ask my friend. I had the greatest life. I could go to the most beautiful places, look at the most beautiful oceans in the world. Instead, here we are, and I'm happy as hell to be with you because I like it much better. I like this much better. I like it much better. You know why? Because we're doing something. We're saving our country. I wouldn't do it just because I like it. We're saving our country. Our country needs saving. We're a failing nation, in case you have any question. We're a sadly failing nation, and we're going to make America great again. It's very simple. So we're a failing nation. We're going to make America great again. And I think we have a chance to make America greater than ever before. And remember this, if we don't do it this time, you're never going to have another crack at it. November 5th is the single most important day in the history of our country. I believe that with all my heart, because our country's going bad. And Kamala vowed to grant, remember, mass amnesty and citizenship to all of the millions of illegals that she let in, which will obliterate Medicare and obliterate your Social Security for seniors. You will not have any Social Security, and you're not going to have Medicare. The whole country is going bad. And no country, no matter who it was, no matter which country it was, no country could withstand this onslaught. No country could withstand this. And a lot of these people, remember, these are rough people. The only thing good about it is they make our gangs and they make our bad ones look like nice people by comparison. We have bad ones too, but compared to the people that are coming into our country, our criminals are very, very nice. These are really tough ones. They come from prisons. Remember that. Many of them come from prisons, and they let them out of the prisons. Why should they keep them when the stupid United States will take care of their situation? Remember that. And this is what you're voting on, by the way, at the end of September, much before November 5th. I always use the term November 5th, but I'm talking about, because today we vote 2 months early. We vote after early. Nobody knows what the hell we're doing. The elections are so screwed up. We have to get back in and we have to change it all. We want to go to paper ballots. We want to go to same-day voting. We want to go to citizenship papers. And we want to go to voter ID. It's very simple. We want to get rid of mail-in voting. Mail-in voting. Jimmy Carter headed up a commission. By the way, the happiest man in the United States today is Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter. My wife went to the funeral of Rosalind, beautiful funeral, like 8 months ago. And I looked at Jimmy. Jimmy's old, but he's happy. You know why? Because his administration is considered brilliant compared to this administration. Brilliant. He's a happy man. But Kamala called for the abolishing of ICE. Great patriots, tough as hell. Some of my friends are sitting right here. They're some of the toughest human beings I've ever met. They're not tough enough to be in ICE. They won't do it. These guys, they see a pack of MS-13 thugs that love knives. They love cutting people up, better than guns because it's more painful. They killed 2 young girls in Long Island not so long ago. 16 years old, they were walking to school. They cut them up into pieces. They cut them up into pieces. They will go into a pack of MS-13 killers, our ICE guys, and for 2 minutes you see nothing but fists and legs and fighting. A lot of the people, like these young ladies from North Carolina, they're not into that. I don't know. I think they don't want to hear about that. They don't like to hear about people being cut up. They don't like to hear about MS-13. Have you ever seen MS-13? Typically, when you have tic-tac-toe boards on your forehead, it's not a good thing, right? They would go into these places and they would start fighting, and at the end of 2-3 minutes, it's over, and they would stand up and they'd take these thugs into paddy wagons and they'd bring them the hell out of our country and they'll get them out. And the problem we had, as you probably heard, was that the countries wouldn't take them back. Honduras, all of these, El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, but they wouldn't take them back. They wouldn't take them back at all. And when I came into office, I said, we got to get these MS-13 killers. We had thousands of them in our country. They were set out by the countries where they came from, mostly those countries I just named. And a general told me, sir, we can't do that. They won't take them back. I said, why? Because Obama tried very hard to take them back. Barack Hussein Obama. Has anybody ever heard of Barack Hussein Obama? Remember Rush Limbaugh? Barack Hussein Obama. Rush, the great Rush Limbaugh, right? We miss Rush. We miss him. But they wouldn't take him back, and the general said, sir, they won't take him back. They put planes on the runway when we're about to fly in. They'll take their commercial jets, put them on the runway so he couldn't land. They'd stop up all the buses, so they'd bring them there, and they'd have to turn around, couldn't get them in. This for years. I said, General, how much money do we pay them in aid every year? Sir, I'll find out. So he comes in to find. So we give them $750 million a year. By the way, it sounds like a lot. That's peanuts compared to what we give them, but it's still a lot of money. Sir, we give them $750 million. Okay, you let them know that effective immediately, they're no longer getting any foreign aid. They're no longer getting any help. No more help. So the time went by, and I came into the office the following morning, nice and early, which I do. And what happened was very amazing. All three countries, these three countries called me, the heads of the countries. Sir, there seems to be a problem. What? Is there anything I can help you with? I heard you're very disturbed about us. Yeah, you're sending over in the caravans your thugs, your killers, and your MS-13 gang members, and you're not letting them come back into your country, and we're bringing them back. If we have to do, I don't give a crap what we have to do, we're bringing them back. Sure, please, sir. We would be delighted to take MS-13 back. They're wonderful individuals. I said, does that mean you're taking them back? Well, sir, I understand you're no longer making payment to us. I said, that's right, and you'll never see that money again. You better open up. Sir, we would be delighted to take them back. All you had to do is ask. 10 minutes later, I get a call from another, the exact same conversation. Could have put it on tape, it would have been identical. Sir, is there a problem? Yeah, you're not taking your criminals back that you sent into our country. We would be delighted to do so. And we took out MS-13 by the thousands and thousands and thousands. And now they're probably all coming back through this weak and pathetic administration that we have. Kamala has provided deportation immunity to the vast majority of criminal aliens. Immunity meaning you can't get them out. Living inside the United States, she's importing MS-13 gang members back into our country. Nothing's going to happen good with MS-13 gang members. And they're going into our high schools, and they're going to class in the high schools, and they're accosting our kids. They're rough kids. These are rough ones. We are being conquered in a certain way from within. If you think about it, like in Colorado today, Aurora, they're taking over the city. They're taking over. They're going in with these massive guns, AK-47s and others, AR-15s, have you ever heard of that one? But they're going in and they're taking over our cities. You watch what's going to happen. We have hundreds of thousands of these people in certain of our cities. And if you think they're going to behave, they're not going to behave. These are rough people. These people came from rough places. And they're just sort of getting acclimated now, right? They're getting acclimated. And now they're finding out, gee, we're not allowed to, you know, the police aren't allowed to talk rough to you, or the police gets arrested. I mean, if the police people do their job, they end up losing their pension, they end up losing their families, they end up losing their house, their car. And they're learning this, these guys. And wait till you see what's going to happen. But it's already been happening. They've killed many, many people in our country. I was at the border last week, and I was with the parents and other family members of some of the young kids that got killed, viciously, violently killed by illegal immigrants coming into our country. We can't have this. It's just, our country, it's not sustainable. Our country's going to fail. These people are stupid people that are running our country. They don't have any common sense. They believe in an ideology. And if you look at Kamala and you look at what she's done to every have to say it. Every place she's touched, you know, you might have heard this, Franklin Graham is wonderful. And he wrote me a letter and he said, sir, I love your stories and I love listening to your rallies, but could you please don't use foul language? Your speeches would be even better if you didn't use foul language. But there's an example. It's not really that bad of it, but how can you top that word for what I'm talking about, right? What word? Every place she touches wouldn't be nice. That would be a thud. It would land with a thud. No. And Franklin's probably right. I'm not sure I agree with him, but he's a great guy, actually. But he did say that to me. He said, please don't. And so I try and avoid it. My wife also, she says, please don't use foul language. But it's hard. You know, there's some words that can't be duplicated. They can't. I try, but it can't be duplicated. Comrade, Kamala launched a radical left war on Pennsylvania energy that will destroy the economy of your state. On Kamala's first day in office, she shut down the Keystone Pipeline, which I approved. She shut down drilling on all federal land. She re-entered the disastrous Paris Climate Accord. Do you know what that was? That was the worst deal, other than it sounds so nice, the Paris Climate. It basically said that this country is screwed. It said this country is going to pay billions and billions of dollars. Other countries are going to pay nothing. China, as an example, pays nothing because they consider it a developing nation. We're not. We better start developing fast or we're not going to have a country left. So I terminated it. We pay billions of dollars. Russia pays nothing. China pays nothing. India pays nothing. And they won't pay for years, but we pay because we're a bunch of suckers. And I terminated it. And one of the early things that Harris did, because she's the one that pushed it, is they renewed it for even more money than they were paying before. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. You'd almost think they hate our country. Kamala Harris surrendered our energy independence, spent hundreds of billions of dollars on the Green New Scam. She's trying to take away gas stoves and heaters. She's vowed repeatedly that we will ban fracking. We will always ban fracking. She just said it today. I saw it. They have a clip from like 2 years ago. She said, no, I'm in favor of fracking, like last week. Oh, no, I'm in favor. Then they start playing clips. We will always ban fracking. There will never be fracking. The people of Pennsylvania are smart. They're not going to fall for it. She will destroy. If you don't have fracking, you don't have a commonwealth. She also imposed a crippling natural gas export ban on Pennsylvania oil and gas, another catastrophe for your state. And this is all stuff that she's done. And I want to call up, I'm flying in with some friends on a very nice plane. It has a very nice television. And I'm watching RSBN, and I'm watching Fox, and I'm watching a lot of them. RSBN, by the way, how good is RSBN? They do a good job. So beautiful. It's like it's the Super Bowl every time we do a rally, right? They do a great job. Thank you, RSBN. Where are you back there, RSBN? Thank you. Wow, what a job. What a job you do. But we were watching, actually, RSBN, and there was a man there named Mark Caskey, the founder of Steel Nation, and he made the greatest speech. And it wasn't necessarily a Winston Churchill type speech, because Winston didn't wear a pith helmet, and Winston's hair wasn't quite as long as Mark's hair, and Winston was brought up in the Oxford tradition, but it was actually just as good. He actually gave me ideas. I thought I was the one that was exposing how bad it's going to be in Pennsylvania and our country if we stop doing the fossil fuel thing, because, you know, in Germany they stopped and the country was ready to go down the tubes. Now they're building a coal plant a week, and Angela is no longer with us. She's no longer with us. But where is Mark Caskey? Is he still around? Oh, look at him right here. Oh, he's probably shocked. I don't know who the hell he is, but you gave the greatest speech. Would you come up? Can I shake your hand? Man, you are something, Mark. Thank you very much. Hey, Mark. Say something. Come here. He can say a little bit more, right?
Winston Churchill, I'm not. I was born and raised in Carolina and Pittsburgh as an adult, and I've been a Yinzer for a long time, President. You know, the war on energy and by the left, and it's not just here, it's worldwide. What's happening in Europe right now is a shame. To even think about EVs here in America when the technology's not there. We would have to cover 2/3 of America with solar panels to power this great country of ours. We have the Marcellus Shale right below our feet in West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, but New York's not bright enough to take advantage of it. That Cuomo family kind of shut that down a while ago, President. We were on stage with President Trump in 2019 at the convention center in Pittsburgh. We're going to have better results this year, but the people behind me, let's stick together, all the oil and gas and coal workers, nuclear workers, power plant workers. Let's put Mr. Trump, President Trump, over the line. I'm watching Mark, and, you know, he's talking about all the things that happened when they shut down everything. They then closed up Keystone XL. People forget. I had it approved. I approved it. It wasn't going to happen. Billions of dollars had been spent. I approved it. They came in. They shut it down. The only one they didn't shut down was the Russian pipeline going through Europe, right? Nord Stream 2. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2, Mark, until I came along, right? Russia was building the biggest pipeline in the world, going to Germany and various other countries in Europe. Countries that we defend against Russia. Think of this. So we defend them against Russia with NATO. We pay billions and billions, and far more than we're supposed to be paying, because they had a lot of people that were delinquent. But after I got finished, they paid, you know? They all paid. They said, would you defend us if we don't pay? I said, no. They all paid. Took about
Obama used to come in, make a speech, and leave. Bush came in, made a speech, and leave. And remember this. Under Bush, Putin took a lot of land. Under Obama, Putin took a lot of land. Under Biden, he's trying to take all of the land. Under Trump, he took nothing. Right, Mark? He took nothing. But Mark said, and I said, write this down. Mark, do you have a copy of that speech, please? It's much easier. Just give me a copy. But no, he named like 6 things that happened immediately. But one of them was so big because the Keystone XL pipeline was a big deal, and that was going to bring a lot of oil in, and it was going to go. And pipelines underground is safer than trucks, I guess, right? And a lot more efficient. It was a big deal, and I approved it. And this guy came in and he immediately dropped it. But you know what? He did approve Nord Stream. Now I shut down Nord Stream. Russia was upset with me. Putin said, if you're supposed to be my friend, I'd hate like hell to see you as my enemy. I closed the biggest deal they've ever done. It was shut. And then this guy came in who's got a low IQ, very, very low. Now he's got maybe no IQ. You have to check it out. And he immediately, the first thing he did was approve the Nord Stream pipeline. And then they'd say, Mr. Congressman, look who we have. Byron, stand up, please. Superstar of the future. He's already a superstar, but he's a superstar of the future. Byron Donalds, Florida. Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. He's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart. You have smart ones and you have some that aren't quite so good. But we have a group of people that are really great. But so I stopped Nord Stream 2, stopped it cold, wasn't going to happen. This guy comes in, he approves it. Then they say, oh, Trump was nice to Russia. I wasn't nice to Russia. But you know what? Getting along with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing. Remember that. Getting along with these people is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a smart thing to do. I got along with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Remember, I walked over the first person to ever walk over from this country, and we also looked at his nuclear capability. It's very substantial. No, getting along is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The fake news would say, he likes Putin or Putin likes him. Let me tell you, they said, President Xi likes Trump. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we were tough with China, too. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars worth of taxes and tariffs. No other president took in 10 cents. When we win on day one, I will tell Pennsylvania to drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. And you know, a man named Mark Levin. Does anybody know Mark Levin? He's great. But he said something to me. He said, you know, he loves this country so much. His show is fantastic. And I do an interview with him this weekend, so I hope you're going to watch. But he's very smart, very tough, but he really loves the country, and he hates what he sees happening. But he sent me something. He said, if you'd like, you can read this at your rally today, and if you like it, you can use it anytime you want. And I think I'm going to do it because it's not very long, and we have plenty of time, and it's only about 100 degrees in here. It's actually not that bad. But Mark is a great man, and he's a great patriot, and he writes, here's what we know about Comrade Kamala Harris. She just doesn't care about the American people, especially hardworking, middle-class Americans. She just doesn't give a damn about you. She does not care about the deaths, sex slavery, drugs, criminals coming across our border. She has been vice president for nearly 4 years, and she did nothing to stop it. All she does is complain. She says it's not her job, but it is her job. She does not care about the middle class struggling over inflation, the cost of gasoline, electricity, or the cost of food. She does not care if you lose your job or cannot find a job. She does not care if you have to run up your credit card. She does not care if your family are struggling, and she did absolutely nothing to fix it. She's the vice president, but she just does not care. She does not care about women's rights because she supported destroying women's sports and athletic scholarships. She wants men to play in women's sports. She does not care about protecting little children from sex change operations because she chose Tampon Tim as a running mate who believes the state, not mothers and fathers, should have the final say on sex change operations for their children. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Can you believe that? Kamala Harris wants to outlaw your car and truck and force you to buy electric vehicles, whether you like them or not, whether you can afford it or not, and they don't go far. She does not care how it impacts you or your family. Kamala Harris does not care about senior citizens because she believes illegal aliens should receive Social Security and Medicare, which she knows will bankrupt those insurance programs, making it impossible for you to receive your pension and health care, which you paid for your entire working life. That's true. She wants to destroy your private health care, even if you like it, even if your employer contributes to it. And she wants Washington, D.C. to make your medical decisions. She wants Washington to decide what procedures and medicines and care you should receive. Whether or not you like it is not important. Kamala Harris had nearly 4 years to show us who she is. She is an uncaring politician with a radical ideology. She is a Marxist. Despite her campaign of lies and flip-flops, we know who Kamala Harris is.